podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Dragon's Lair.
Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Lair podcast, your home all things Dragons RFC and rugby in the region. I'm Jamie, and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas. How are we, Gav?
I'm very well, Jamie, very well. I've just returned from Wales, in which I was shocked to discover people think they can charge you for a £5 a pint in certain parts of South Wales, but other than that, I'm very well.
Yes, the price of beer is rocked in that mind. It's not like the old days, Gav, £2 a pint up the valleys and the working men's clubs. Those days are gone now. The prices are going up, I'm afraid.
I was watching my mate's band in Merthyr, and 4 beers was 20 quid. It's outrageous.
Yeah. The best thing to do is go to Wetherspoons if you can put aside the Tim Martin Brexity stuff. I would go to Wetherspoons because they're still cheap in it. And I paid $2.99 for a pint of Guinness in Tooting, London. So you can't go wrong for that, can you? As much as I dislike Tim Martin and Wetherspoons, you're not going to get a pint of Guinness for £3 anywhere else in London. So sometimes you got to just make a deal with the devil. Exactly right. Okay, so you can find us on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and the Sports Social Network. And if you like what we do, please subscribe, share, and leave us a good review, as it all helps to grow the pod. Right, Gav, this week is a special pod. Why is it a special one? Because it's a victory pod. That's right, the Dragons won. Would you believe it? So it wasn't pretty or perfect by any means. Certainly wasn't now, was it? But the Dragons climbed off the bottom of the URC with a 2013 win against Zebre in Newport on Good Friday. And it was a Good Friday for the Dragons. So, Dragons led 13-6 at the break after scoring a pair of tries through their defence. Really good pressure defence. Centre and Iron Owen intercepting, and wing Jared Rosser racing over after a very good, strong rucking, from Tate Basham, who had a very good game, I should say. Hooker, Elliot D, he guided a driving line out over the line early in the second half, but a close-range Zebre try by prop Mohammed Hassan made it a needlessly nervy finish. Fly half Will Reid was named player of the match by Sean Holly on scrum 5, which is slightly surprising because I thought he was going to go to Jared Rosser. The attendance at Ronnie Parade on Friday night was 4,726. So there we are, and Gav, Dragons finally got that win they needed. Like I said, it wasn't pretty by any means. It was a dogfight. These basement battles usually are. But what was your thoughts on what you saw on Friday night?
So it was interesting for a number of points, really. So clearly you were there. I watched on TV. What was the atmosphere like? Because it sounded kind of bouncing on TV. Sounded quite lively, and particularly last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty good, I have to say. Yeah, a lot of people like the games on a Friday night under the lights. You know, that is a popular sort of schedule kickoff time for a lot of supporters. But yeah, it was pretty good. Like I said, 4,500 again, probably average crowd now for Dragons. So yeah, it was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty game, like you say, at all, was it?
No.
And we lived on our nerves a little bit, and I think Jared Rosser had a very good game. Tane had a good game. Elliot D had a very good game. But kind of the player that, because I've criticised him, so I have to be positive, was Will Reid. Will Reid actually managed the game very well, I thought. And, it'd be wrong to say, having spent the season saying, no, his game management was poor. It's one spring doesn't make a summer, but it was decent. It was decent performance by him. I thought it was, but you've hit the nail on the head, I think. Defensively, it was our most astute performance.
Yes.
You're just really up in their faces, cutting down the space. Because we lived off their mistakes. We didn't create a lot. But we managed...
Very opportunistic tries, weren't they?
Yeah. Apart from Elliot, but we managed... We managed the defence well, and that period in the second half where we had those 2 penalties. So we're on our line, then we get a penalty, then we get another penalty, and then we're in there for 5 meters. That was a defining moment of the game for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a game where the result was more important than the performance. We knew we had to win this game, and we knew it was going to be pretty, because it never is between these two teams. And I don't know about you, Gav, but I actually thought the Dragons were better in defeat against the Bulls than they were in victory against Zebre. I actually thought the performance was better, but obviously you are coming up against a much better team. But we got that much needed win against, an improving Zebre. They had their Italian internationals back, so I was never fully confident of us winning this one. This was always going to be a banana skin, but we got the job done, and that's the important thing. It's about getting over the line, isn't it? That's something the Dragons have got to learn.
We haven't done it all season, and it would have been very easy, particularly at the end, to capitulate.
Yeah. And we've seen it so many times over the years, Gav, as well, haven't we? That's why we're always very cautious when it comes to watching the Dragon. You can never fully relax watching the Dragons.
No, I think they all say that we've been a Wales fan, but it's doubly so for us because we've also had 20 years of it, or however long with the Dragons.
Yep, too true. You mentioned Will Reid there. I thought that was his best game this season.
Yeah.
Now, like you, I've spoke about it in the pod. I've spoke about it on the Rap podcast as well. Now, look, I've had doubts about his game management and his decision making at times. You look back to that silly error against the Bulls. He's kicking the ball out of scrum half's hands and little silly things like that. But I think he was really, really good in this game. When he controlled the game well, and that's why I want to see more from him. It was really good. My man of the match, my player of the match would have gone to Chad Ross if I chose him, because I thought he was outstanding. I thought that was his best game for the Dragons in a long time. So blistering pace for that breakaway try after really good counter record for Tane Basher. He was everywhere. He was absolutely everywhere. He was so hungry. He was looking for work. It was a really good performance by Jared.
I thought he'd scored the pushover try. So, when they scored from the penalty in his Elliott. Well, I thought Jared had scored it because I saw him come out of the rack and he's yes.
But the camera panned on him, didn't it? So that's why I think a lot of people thought he scored no. But it was really good to see Jared having that game because, he is a very good player on his day. He's a really good finisher. So, that would have been my player of the match. But I'm pleased for Will Reid because I think he needs more games like that. Tane Basher was really good again, Gav, I thought. I think since he's come back from Wales, from the Six Nations squad, I think he's really upped it. He looks like someone, as James said on the Rap podcast, is playing for a contract.
Yeah,
whether that'll be with us. Yeah, whether that'll be with us or someone else, I don't know. But he does look like he's got his mojo back again.
Yeah,
which is really good to see. Luke Yendall at tight head. It was his first start of Ronnie Braid. I thought he did all right in the scrums. We are trying to get Luke on the pod, by the way. I did message him, so hopefully he needs to message us back. Luke, if you're listening, give us a message back. I'd like to get you on the pod.
The scrum creaked a bit, but it did what it needed to do. We got the ball up, didn't we?
Absolutely, yeah, we did. Great to see Dimitri Arhip make his debut for the Dragons. Scrum looked solid when he came on, Gav, didn't they? I thought. Instantly, looked solid when he came on.
Didn't creak when he came on, no.
It didn't.
It showed right up. But, that's all he does, isn't it? I don't think he moved more than about 8 foot in the entire game.
No, but he can scrummage, and that's definitely what we need at the Dragons. I found out on Friday night, he's actually been with us since November, Arhip. He's been with the Dragons. He's been training with us and doing this rehab. Yeah, we've had him since November. And it's been a bit of a joke at the club because they've been putting out videos and photos of him in training and other stuff. And he's been in all these photos and videos, but nobody's noticed. So we didn't notice as supporters. BBC, Wales Online, South Wales Argus. Nobody's picked up on the fact that we've had Arhip with us since the end of the year. So, he's been with us for a little while. But,
does he must live in Cardiff, I assume.
Probably. Yeah, I think a lot of rugby players live in Cardiff, don't they? Pontcanna, Penarth, that sort of area, really. So
I've never been to Moldova, but I imagine Cardiff is slightly nicer than Chisinau.
I would say so, yeah. But that could be a very good pickup for us. Hip. So
he'll do a job, won't he, till the end of the season? He's not a young man, is he? He's 35, 36.
He's 35. Yeah. Yeah, he's 35. But there's still plenty of life. And I mean, look at Brock at the Stormers. He's still going strong, isn't he, old Brock?
Yeah, he's been one of the stand-up performers in the scrimmage. It's ridiculous. How old is he? He must be 40 if he's a day, Brock Harris.
I think he's 39, isn't he? 39.
He looked 40. He looked 40 when he first came to us.
Oh yeah, he looks about 55, but he is about 39, I think. But no, I think there's a good couple of years left in our hip, and if he goes well, he probably will get a contract extension. But hopefully now he stays injury free. That's the key. Yeah. And we need to see what he can do for us for the rest of the season. I think, look, I don't want to be negative about it, Gav, because Dragons don't win as many games as we would like them to.
No.
But I have to say, I am disappointed that after Elliott's try, we didn't kick on and put the game to bed. Like, we didn't get our bonus point that we really needed. Yes, we got the win, but I would have liked to have seen us develop a killer instinct, which I think is lacking at the Dragons, and get that bonus point.
I don't think we were on top enough, though, Jamie. That was, apart from Elliott's try, none of that came from a position of control. We struggled with them defensively at times, even though it was much better defensive performance. I don't think we were ever in that much control where it was going to be a cakewalk.
No, absolutely not. I just think I would have liked us to have pushed on a little bit more. Because when Elliott gets that try, you're thinking, right, just one more try now, and we get that bonus point. That would have been a brilliant result for us. But
our discipline then let us down, didn't it? Because our discipline slipped at that point, and then we were living off scraps for a while, for about 20 minutes.
Well, that's just what I was about to say to you. Then our discipline started, to unfortunately go, wayward, and we were making silly errors as well. That led Zebre into the game, and they came away with a losing bonus point, which I wasn't too happy with. It would have been better for us to deny them anything. We are in a scrap to avoid being bottom team in the URC, and us not getting a bonus point and then picking one up. Now, that could be a difference come the end of the season. So I was just slightly disappointed that we didn't kick on and get that bonus point, and Zebre came away with something. Also, as well, our attack, I'm still not happy with our attack.
It looks toothless.
I've had issues about this all season. I think Dave Flanagan and Matt O'Brien really need to work together now to try and get this attack clicking, because far too often, it's an awful cliche. We've heard it a million times in rugby, but you hear that cliche, you've got to earn the right to go wide. The problem is we chuck the ball about from side to side. We go wide very quickly off first phase now, but we're not making any hard yards. We don't get any go forward. So what you're doing, you just end up going from side to side, but you're not really going anywhere. And several times we did that.
You're not pulling the fence around, and you're not making gaps, which is when the defenders have to move across more sharply, because we're not getting over the gain line anywhere near as much as we should.
Yeah,
that's why. So then, when we tried to move the ball back across the field, well, that's fine. No one's been sucked into a ruck. No one's having to loop round from a position where they're offside or whatever. There's no gaps because our attack's toothless.
Yeah, and there are times where we look good, in phases, and it looks pretty exciting, and we're throwing the ball about. It looks nice, but there's other times we're doing it without any go forward, and then it becomes a bit pointless then, because we're not getting out of our own half, and we're not making the hard yards going forward, and we're not getting any territory. And I just think there are times as well when we always try the miracle offload, and then someone spills it, and I think, well, no, that's not what's needed. Just go through some phases, truck it up the middle, get some field position, and then maybe go from coast to coast. That's been a big frustration for me this season as our attack.
Yeah, it looks, it's a bit like the problems facing Welsh rugby, really. I don't know what the attack is. Yeah, I don't until Friday. I didn't really know what the defensive strategy was, but we looked like we had one on Friday. But attacking, I don't know what the strategy is, other than you try to be expansive, but expansive is only useful if there's gaps in defence. Yeah. If we're trying to create broken field, well, we aren't doing that.
Yeah. You can see what they're trying to do, though, can't you, the Dragons? Yeah. You can see what they're trying to do in attack, but it's whether they've got the skill set for it. And also, as well, they've got, as I said earlier, they've got to make the hard yards. They've got to start tracking up and getting more field position, because going from coast to coast, side to side, without any go forward, it's just utterly pointless. I think you might as well kick the ball.
Yeah.
For me, I'd rather see him kick the ball and try to get.
There was a couple
the
of
opposition.
times. A couple of times on Friday where both Jared and Rio got the ball, but they were stood still.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
It's unbelievably pedestrian.
Yeah, I agree.
God, I teach under 10s not to stand still to catch a ball. It's
Yes.
we shouldn't be doing
Absolutely.
it. Shouldn't be seen at that level. But
No, quite right. On the positive, just picking up on what you said then, we know that we haven't got a defense coach, and my God, we've spoken about this enough times. Defensively, very good. I was impressed with our defense. I thought it was gritty. I thought it showed a lot of character. We worked incredibly hard. Did it surprise you how good we were defensively?
yeah, it looked different because it looked just quite aggressive. It was,
Did.
not quite blitz, but it wasn't that aggressive. But it was like we were shutting down any space. We were meeting them in attack constantly. We were pressuring them. We were causing issues at the line out as well, at the ruck as well, which we've looked really lightweight at the ruck at times this season. But
Yeah.
Taino, I've been critical of, was really solid at the ruck, but everybody was giving her a go.
Was. And Sean Lonsdale as well, I thought, put in a really big shift. I know that's someone we all not entirely sold on, but I thought he put in a real big shift.
He's fine at second row. I just don't see him as a 6. But he did what I would expect his second row to do a lot on Friday, which is just hit rucks hard.
Yeah. Kai Evans, our boy Kai, he struggled with a boot, didn't he? I thought those two missed conversions were
I thought that was
quite poor by his standards. Yeah. Yes, I did say the same to my dad. I thought, I hope those missed points don't come back to bite us on the backside. I was quite concerned about that, and I expected Kai to kick those with his eyes closed, to be honest, but not his best game. Also, Aaron Wainwright had a very quiet game by his high standards, I thought. Now, he has had a pretty draining Six Nations, so maybe that's why, maybe he could do now a couple of weeks rest, which he'll get, of course, because we're not in Europe, but it was an unusually quiet performance.
He didn't carry with any kind of intensity, I thought. It's...
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay, so Dragons have won. Like we said, it wasn't a great game. It was low on quality, but this was all about the result, and we got the result that we needed. And for now, we are off the bottom of the table. So it's good, Gav, isn't it? It's all about winning, and we did that. And any final thoughts before we move on?
Well, it probably sounds like I'm being critical. I'm not critical because I was super pleased. I was overjoyed to see us win, and I was overjoyed to see some of that kind of grittiness. But we've got to maintain it now. The next game, the defence has to look like that.
Yeah. And next game is away at Benetton, which is going to be very difficult. It's a tough place to go.
Game. Yeah, they're doing very well. I'm making no assumptions there. Well, of the games we've got left now, Connacht, Scarlets, they're the games to be.
Well, I'm going to hold your fire about that because I got a question to ask you. Well, one of our listeners have sent us a question, so I'll get your thoughts on the run-in just a bit later on. Right, okay then, so that's that done then. As we said, victory pod, Dragons win, great stuff. Now it's time for this week's Gwent Rugby Roundup. So what's been the latest then, Gav? What's happening?
Well, it was a good weekend for both of us, really, because clearly the Dragons won, but our respective Premiership sides won as well. Newport beat Llandovery 24-6, which fantastic result, puts them top of the Premiership.
Yeah,
and
good game that was.
Yes,
did you watch it? It was on S4C. It was really good.
I did, yes. No, it was excellent.
Reinhard Landman, former Dragon, who of course friend of the pod. He had to play with a match. He was really good.
Oh God, I bet he's hard work to stop. Jesus, just watching him.
I saw him Friday night down at Ronnie Parade, and he's still a unit. He's still massive.
You could see that when he was on the pod. His arms were filling my screen. Yes.
The other thing I want to say, just before you move on, sorry, Shea Hope, Dragon scrum half, was excellent, and he's bulked up as well.
Yes, I thought
he
looked really sharp, and I liked him just sniping around rucks and just.
Yes.
That's Llandovery side decent. Lots of good players.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good game. Did you notice, the first half, they absolutely destroyed the Newport scrum Land
Yes.
Rugby, and you're thinking, uh-oh. And the second half, it was the complete opposite. They made some front row changes, then it was them who was dominating. But what was it? Land Rugby won, 12, 13 games in a row, something like that?
Yeah.
They've had a fantastic run. They're a very good team, so it's a brilliant
The
win for Newport. I was pleased to
last
see
team they
the
lost to
Dragons
was
done so well.
Zebre. It lost to
Yeah.
Zebre in October, I think. That was the last time they've lost. So that's a fantastic win. And then Ebervale won 24-17 away to Swansea.
Good win.
So Newport at top, Llandovery second. Newport, Llandovery and Ebervale are all assured playoff places.
Brilliant.
And Pontypool didn't play this weekend, but Pontypool are in a fifth.
It's been a good season, isn't it, for the Gwent clubs and the
They've done very well. My fear is we'll do whatever we're calling it, the elite competition or whatever it's called. What's that going to look like, and how is that going to help our regions? But that's another chat for another time.
Indeed.
So in the Championship East, Bedwas lost 24-33 at home to Cross Keys, and Penalta lost 22-37 at home to Newbridge. In the Division 1, Blaenavon beat Risca 48-30. I don't know if you've ever played at Blaenavon. That's another not easy place to play. It's cold and windy. Yeah, and if you said, I'm playing their summer tournament in August, it's still cold and windy. It's always like an incredibly hard place to go. Monmouth, good win for them. They beat Dowlers 31-26 at home. And your former side, NSD, beat Abergavenny 53-20. Good win for them.
The D's.
Abergavenny, though, not having a good season. Into Division 2 East, Newport High School Old Boys beat Croeso Kiliog 47-19. And Oakdale beat Killeen 34-12. Into Division 3 East, tightly fought game in another very difficult place to go and play. Nandy Glow lost 22-23 at home against Abertwysog. Another cold and windy place all year round. Division 4 East, Blackwood Stars beat Whitehead 21-15. Gwynafed beat Bedwellty 36-12. Havordanis lost 17-34 at home to Crickhowell. New Panteg beat Betos, lost, at 26-27 at home to Betos. And St. Julian's High School Old Boys lost 21-26 home to New Tredegar. And then into Division 5 East, Westmont lost 7-53 at home to Hollybush. Eastern Valley's clash there. And in Division 6 East, Tranant lost 15-0 at home to Tredegar Ironsides. So not lots of rugby, but lots of away wins.
Yeah.
Clearly the home teams were all Easter drinking and ready.
Great stuff. Okay, thank you for that, Gav. Let's move on now to a bit of news. So all this week, Dragons are announcing #NextGen signings. So these are young players who are signing new contracts with the club. And the first one that's been announced is young centre Joe Westwood. So he signed a 3-year senior contract with the Dragons. The 20-year-old who can also play in the back three made his debut for the Dragons off the bench against the Sharks in January, and then he made a first start against Ulster in Belfast. I really like the look of this guy, Gav. Mm-hmm. He looks quite the player, and he's a big lad as well, isn't he?
He is. He's a big lump. He doesn't look like a centre when you first see him. Is the plan? Have they suggested that this is going to be regular first team rugby, or is he still going to play at Newport or one of the other feeder clubs?
I think he'll be a mixture of the two. I think he'll get a lot more game time for the Dragons next season, but I could still see him playing rugby for Newport. And I think that's a good way he just needs to be playing rugby, whether it's for the Dragons or even for Newport in the Premiership. There's no point having these talented kids not playing rugby, just sitting around if not selected. So if he's not, in the Dragon squad, get him playing for Newport. But
I think that's what we should be doing anyway. It's whoever's not in the 23, they should be playing Premiership rugby on the weekends.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what Dave Flanagan said. It's great news that Joe has signed a long-term deal with us, as we firmly see him as a future 13 for our club. He's a big man and a great athlete, built to be a modern-day rugby player, and he has a fantastic skill set from his time playing in multiple positions in junior rugby. Joe is an exciting prospect for this club, and we look forward to seeing how he develops and pushes on in the coming season. So he's a big part of the Dragons' plans going forward, and I do think we'll see a lot more of him. Well, he's already had a fair bit of game time, hasn't he? You know, since he's come back into the fold. He's had bad luck with injury as well, Joe Westwood. He spent a couple of seasons out, but they do think a lot of him at the Dragons.
A line breaking 15 is what we need. You know, it's like Mason Grady type of character.
Yeah, and big men, we haven't got many of those in Wales either.
No.
You know, he is a big guy. So, yeah, pretty good news. So there will be another announcement later today, but as we're recording this, we won't get to know who that is. But all this week, they'll be announcing new re-signings of the young talent, which is it's pretty good marketing too, actually. It's good PR, isn't it? You know, showing the club that we're building for the future and you're re-signing your exciting young talent. And we've got to keep hold of young talent. Yes, it's important that we sign quality players. We're going to help to push the Dragons on, but you've got to keep hold of your best quality young players. You don't want them going to England and elsewhere.
No. You know, you want to try and keep them out of the English game, don't you? You know? No offence to the English game, but...
No, but we've lost too much talent, haven't we, to England, so we need to keep hold of our young talent in Wales. Yeah. So, yeah, promising news, really good stuff. In other news, then, David Buttress has been named CEO of OVO Energy. Are you an OVO Energy customer, Gav?
I am not.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I am an OVO Energy customer.
I might be. I don't know. My wife deals with that side of the bills.
Yeah, so OVO has 4 million energy customers in the UK, placing it third in the market behind British Gas and Octopus Energy. So I'm just wondering, if I see Buttress next, are we going to get a discount for Dragon season ticket holders? If I'm an OVO Energy customer now, can I have a discount off my energy bills? Because they are going up at a rate of knots. So
I'm going to suggest probably nice.
not. No, probably not. No. Shame, really, isn't it?
Good for him, though. You know, like a man who knows his way. He certainly knows his way around the world of business, doesn't he?
Yeah, but how does he get time to do all these roles, Gav? Because he's got his venture business in the 83 North, and he's got the Dragons, and you know, he's got his fingers in so many pies. I just wonder how these businessmen, these high-flying businessmen, find time to do and run all these businesses, you know?
A mate of mine, who I run my rugby club with, is a managing director of an IT company. And if he goes into work twice a week, it's miraculous. So I don't know, you know.
No, but fair play to him. Congratulations to him, we should say as well.
Absolutely,
it's a big role for him, isn't it?
And you know, he's been a big advocate of the pod as well. You know,
he has. He absolutely has. He's offered to come back on as well because somebody got in touch with us. We'll come on to it now on mailbox. But he was asking questions, and I replied saying that needs to be answered by David Buttress, not us. David saw that, and he said he's happy to come back on and answer more questions. So, and it's great to have, isn't it? You know, a chairman of Dragons who's so passionate and willing to engage with us. He doesn't have to, and I think it's good.
No, absolutely, he doesn't need to do this at all. But I think, you know, it's good that not only from him but from the club as a whole, we've had recognition of what we're doing. Because yeah, it's very much an amateur affair, but it's good that the club's kind of buying into it too.
And, excuse me, we've been quoted in Wales Online as well.
We have.
We're kind of a big deal now. This pod is growing. Wales Online are quoted us.
It didn't make me laugh when I saw that. Well, they were quoting Jamie Ringer, they were, but...
Yes. Oh, also, while we're at it, we need to clarify something here. When you said about the line breaks. So a couple of people did get in touch with me to say that Wales averaged 4 line breaks per game throughout the whole tournament. So you got asked that just a little bit incorrect. But I mean, it's still not great, don't get me wrong, but it was 4 line breaks per game, not throughout the tournament.
Still not enough.
No, not at all. But just to clarify that, correction.
But I was wrong by 500%, so I will accept that.
That's all the news I have from a Dragons point of view. Now, let's look what's inside our mailbox. So we asked our lovely listeners for their comments, thoughts, and questions. Now, we've had a couple of questions regarding the coaching setup. So Ellis Parry gets in touch and he says it'd be great for you guys to discuss the coaching situation. Gareth Leclerc also asked, what changes do we expect for the backroom staff? Whilst we are in need of a defence coach, our attack has gone backwards this season, in my opinion. Yes, quite right, as we talked about. So what do we know about the coaching setup? Well, we know that there's going to be a refresh. We know we're going to get a defensive coach. We don't know who yet. I haven't seen or heard any names mentioned in terms of a new defence coach. So we don't know who at the moment, but we know we are having a defence coach. We know that Luke Narroway is going to be leaving the Dragons. We know that Meffin Davis is going to be leaving. So that's 2 forwards coaches there that's going to be leaving. We know that Dan Bow, the head of performance, or the water boy, whatever you want to prefer to call him, he's going to Georgia. So he's going to join the Georgian national team as part of their coaching setup. So it looks like we are going to have a refresh of the coaching. And to be honest with you, as we've talked about a few times this season, Gav, it's much needed. I think we need fresh voices now and new blood in our coaching team, don't we?
So Meffin was set piece coach, wasn't he? And
so Meffin concentrated on scrums.
Yeah.
And Luke Narroway concentrated on the lineup. So we had 2 forwards coaches, but Meffin was concentrating on scrums and set piece, and Narroway was focusing on the lineouts.
Yeah, both needs an overhaul anyway. You know, it's
yeah. And I don't know about the attack. I don't know if they're going to persist with Matt O'Brien. Like I said, I'm really not happy with our attack at the moment. You know, I know that he's kind of a young coach, isn't he? And he's combining that role with playing for Newport RFC. But it remains to be seen whether we'll have an attack coach or not. I would like one.
I don't see how you can do it. I don't see.
He does, though. He absolutely does.
Oh, no, I know he does, but we're a professional club. We need a professional setup. It doesn't feel professional.
I agree. I do agree with that. But it's the money issue, isn't it? So,
of course.
Yeah. But yes, we can expect changes. But like I said, there's no names as of yet in terms of who's coming into the coaching setup, but we know who's going. So, that's when we're going to have to.
Well, we should start some ridiculous rumours.
Yeah.
We saw Sean Edwards in Hypervalue. I don't think Hypervalue's still there, but you know.
Sean Edwards was in Friars Walk, having a coffee with David Buttress. That would be a fine thing, wouldn't it? He very nearly became our head coach, Sean Edwards. Remember that when he was linked to being our interim head coach? I often think about that. Would it have ever worked? I don't know. I mean, our defence would have been very good. I know that.
He did a good job at Wasps.
He came in at Cardiff as a consultant as well, didn't he, to help out with their defence. They did all right there winning the Challenge Cup. So, what could have been? What could have been? Okay, so Matt Williams, he's asking, do you guys think we will catch the Scarlets or will we finish bottom Welsh region again? Now, let's talk about the running, because you mentioned it earlier, right? I'll read to you the run-ins of each team, and I want you to tell me who you think got the toughest run-in and if we can finish above the Scarlets, right? So, our next 4 games are this. Bennington away, Connacht at home, Stormers at home, Ospreys away, Scarlets away at Judgment Day. Right? That's the Dragons running. Now let's have a look at the Scarlets running. They got Edinburgh away. They've got Sharks at home. They've got Ulster at home. Zebre away. And then they got the Dragons. So, who has got, in your opinion, the toughest running out of those 2 clubs?
Scarlets.
You think the Scarlets?
Yeah.
Do you think we'll finish above the Scarlets?
No.
No.
I think we'll beat them. The thing is, there's 3 winnable games there for me.
So who's winnable then out of those games then I've mentioned to you from the Dragons?
Connacht at home.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Ospreys away, not super winnable, but it's not a million miles. You know, we can beat Ospreys on our day. maybe not the way they're playing at the minute. And Scarlets. Yeah, we aren't beating Stormers unless they decide to send their fourths, and even then we'll struggle. And we aren't beating Benetton away. So Scarlets, they aren't beating Edinburgh away. Again, Sharks, it really depends on what happens with what Sharks team turns up.
Yeah.
And Zebre away, we know that's a tough game. And Scarlets have looked worse. Scarlets have looked worse than us. They've got a better squad than us on paper, but they've looked worse as a team.
Yeah. I did sympathise with them getting hammered by Glasgow, because us Dragon supporters know what that's like. We've had some real pastings from Glasgow. You think back to 60 points to 3 back in 2012 or 2013, whenever it was. Obviously, that 70-plus point defeat in Europe last season. They're a bloody good team, Glasgow, and they are ruthless. Like, they will cut you to shreds if you allow them. And they were very, very poor, Scarlets.
Yeah, exceptionally. Cardiff looked very good, though, I thought.
Yeah, you got to take your hat off to her, because they're not winning games.
2 losses, but they did well.
Yeah, they're not winning games. They've only won 3 games. So I should point out that the Dragons have won more games than Cardiff in all competitions this season. Yeah. We won 3 in the league and 1 in Europe. I know the caveat is, Cardiff fans say, well, we played in the Champions Cup, fine. But the stats are that we've won more games than Cardiff. But they're competitive. And what I admire about them, which is what we don't do enough, and they banged on about this a lot on both podcasts, on here and on that, they pick up losing bonus points. So if it's games where you're going to struggle to win, you've got to come away with something. And we don't do that enough. We don't pick up enough losing bonus points. So that's why I want us to do a lot more when we go and play those bigger and better teams.
But we've got to be more competitive, because we don't look at the races when we play a Munster, a Glasgow, a Bulls. We don't look like we're at the races against those teams. A Lions, whoever.
Yeah. So you're saying that we won't finish above the Scarlets, and you think we'll finish bottom Welsh region, is it? Yeah. I'll be honest, is that what you think?
Yeah. I do, yeah.
I would agree.
How many points are they ahead of us?
Only 1.
Maybe. It really depends on what Sharks team turns up.
Yeah. So the bottom 4 of the table is quite interesting now. So in last 16th, you got Zebre. They're on 15 points. Then it's us in 15th. We got 15 points. Scarlets are in 14th. They have 16 points. The Sharks have leapt up now. They're in 13th position, and they're on 18 points. I mean, I've been saying for a little while that sooner or later the Sharks are going to start winning games and climb up the table. That was always going to happen. There's too much quality in that team for them not to start winning games. But it's quite an interesting battle, isn't it, down at the bottom, the basement battle, as they call it. So it's perfectly possible we can overtake the Scarlets.
Oh, yeah.
Will they win another game this season? I think that's the question, isn't it? As bad as Scarlets are, and we're struggling, will they win another game this season? I probably think they will, but...
But you could argue there's a case that both teams could win 1 or more, or both teams could lose all of them bar against each other.
It could come down to Judgment Day.
Yeah.
That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? That'd be good from the commercial angle. Who finishes bottom Welsh region? If it's a shootout between Scarlets and Dragons, I think that would generate a little bit of interest.
Because Ospreys will get the Welsh Shield, won't they?
Oh, yes.
The vitally important Welsh Shield.
I'd love us to win the Welsh Shield. The hubcap, as it's known as, the hubcap with stickers. I would kill for the Dragons to win now, honestly. I would. It's something, isn't it? It's an ugly trophy, but it's something. So, yeah, okay. Thank you for that, Matt. Stephen Thompson, he gets in touch and he asks, is Ting Basham staying? Well, Stephen, the answer is, I don't know. How long's a piece of string? I honestly don't know. I hope so, because I think Ting has been very good, as I said, since he's come back from the Wales squad. He looks hungry again. It looks like he's got his mojo back. His counter-rucking was really good on the weekend. That's an area of his game that he does need to improve on. We know he's a good ball carrier, but he's got to do the dirty work as well. I'd really like Ting to stay. I don't see why he'd want to be going to the Scarlets, if I'm being honest, because they're in all sorts of trouble off the field. they've recently announced a restructure, and all they've done is just move people sideways. They haven't really taken accountability. There's a lot of talk about John Daniels moving on. A lot of fans aren't happy with John Daniels. They wanted him gone from the club. They just moved him sideways to another position. So there's all sorts of problems there. We know the Saracens are interested in Tay. Now, that's understandable. If he did leave to go to the Saracens, I think most people would say, well, fair enough, because Saracens are a very big club. They've got rich history. The Gallagher Premiership is a good league, and it'd be a new, fresh challenge for him. He'd be playing Champions Cup rugby. I get that. I don't really understand why he want to move to Scarlets, as I said, but I hope he stays. I don't know about you, Gav. Would you like to see him stay?
Yeah, I didn't at the start of the season because I thought he wasn't pulling his weight. But since the Six Nations, he seems to be actually doing what you want a back row forward to be doing. So I'd be happy if he stayed. And without sounding one-eyed and provincial, why would he go to Scarlets at the minute? They're in a worse position than us.
I think off the field, we're in a much better position than the Scarlets. Yeah, you can argue they are a better team. And, the league says that. We're not too far behind them. Yes, they have, yeah. But like I said, I talked to Lee from RAP and New Year stuff. I don't think it's a very well-run club at the moment. The fans are furious. They're not happy with what's going on there. There are certain people at the board that aren't taking responsibility, So, they've got issues with Scarlets. I'd be surprised and a bit disappointed if he went there. But it's his choice at the end of the day. There are negotiations between Tane and the club at the moment, so fingers crossed that I would like him to stay, and I guess we'll just wait and see. But is he staying? Who knows? Who knows?
We'll find out, won't we?
We soon will. Richard Dixon gets in touch. He's asking, who's out of contract at the end of the season? Will Jordan Williams, Co Tompkinson, Leon Brown, and Bradley Roberts still be here? And then he asks, do we need them? So I think out of those, I would have liked to have kept Co, I'll be honest, because I still don't really think we've seen the best of him. He's been unlucky with injury, and he is quite a physical player. I like Co a lot, but he is going to be leaving, I would imagine. Jordan Williams, I think, should leave, if I'm being brutally honest. I think Jordan was a great player for us for the first couple of years, but I think his time is up now. Leon Brown, I think, is probably for the best if he moved on. Bradley Roberts, I'd love to keep Bradley. We're big fans of him on the pod. I don't know if he'd be with us. That's purely because of budget. We're going to accept we're going to have to lose some big names. So do we need them? I mean, it would be nice to keep Sue and Bradley, but what do you think, Gav, out of those names?
I totally agree with you on what you've said. I think Leon, what does he bring? He plays 4 games a year. Broken the rest. We're playing for Wales. Don't really bring a lot, I'm sure. And he can make money in England. Let him do that. I don't think we need to worry about him. Yeah, Jordan is fine. We've got plenty of players who can do that job better. And CO brings a bit of physicality in the centres, which we lack. Be good to see him for another season. And Bradley is a good option. He's an international player. He's not as good as Elliott, but he's certainly the next best cab off the rank. As much as we like Jimbo, he's not
friend to the pod, James Benjamin. Yeah.
He's not in the same place as Bradley, I don't think so.
And don't forget, we got young Brody Coughlin pushing through as well. And I like him quite a lot. I think he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, he looks decent as well. But, Bradley is a better player than both those currently.
We're going to see a few names leave the Dragons, I think. Some, high-profile players. I understand Sean Lonsdale is probably going to leave as well. Bertranu is going to leave. Max Clark is likely to leave. I'm fine with that. We talked about Max Clark before. I don't think he made the impact I wanted him to have. He's played okay for Cardiff when he has played, but he's injured again now. And I think when you got Westwood and Ivan Owen and Harry Ackerman, coming through now, you got to weigh it up with him. So, there's going to be some big name departures, I think. And there might be 1 or 2 players who we don't want to see leave the Dragons.
Sean Lonsdale will end up in the English Championship, I imagine.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think we will be in the market for a back rower, though. I think we will look for sort of that back rower / lock hybrid.
He's from
Do
the
you know? I think
northwest, isn't he, Sean Lonsdale? He's North Walian, but I think
he is North Walian.
but I think his
Yeah.
heritage is northwest England, round there.
I was thinking about this, right? If we can look for a back rower, because we talked about this in our group chat on that. Harley said about Will Boyd would be a good pickup for the Dragons, a good signing. I was like, yeah, but I tell you, do I think it'd be good with someone like Shane Lewis-Hughes from Cardiff? I'd be looking at him because he's a really good back rower.
I
He
like
can
him
play
as a
lock
player.
if we needed
Yeah.
it. I think that would be the kind of player the Dragons need to look at. If we're losing Tane as well, mate, we are going to, need a back rower, another one. We don't know what's happening with Ollie. I'm not sure his contract state is. So I'd be looking at someone like Shane Lewis-Hughes.
Yeah, that'd be a good signing.
Yeah, someone like that. But yeah, that's where we are with the contract stuff. Let's have a look at Twitter then. So Ulfstar126594. That's a catchy username, isn't it? He's asking, what's the position with Gonzalo Bertranu? Is he out injured for the rest of the season? So Bertranu is currently out injured with a wrist injury. Is he going to be out for the rest of the season? I don't know. But that's where he is at the moment. He injured his wrist in training, I understand. And yeah, he's injured. We've barely seen the guy. I like Bertranu, but we've barely seen him.
Hasn't he?
Something like that, 2-3 times maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you'll see him again. I'd like him to get one more game in before he goes, because I think he's been a good player for us. But with a World Cup, like I said, this season, we've barely seen the guy. So, shame, really. And then Richard Jones gets in touch and he says, if the Dragons could afford him and he wanted to come back to Wales, then Rhys Patchell would be an excellent signing and would be superb in helping Will redevelop. There was talk of him joining before he went to Super Rugby, so you never know. Rhys Patchell. Now, from what I understand, the Dragons are still trying with Rhys Patchell. There have been conversations. They're not giving up on him. So maybe watch this space, I would say. But how would you feel about Rhys Patchell?
Well, I like Patch. I've always liked Patch as a player. He's
but
not
is
my kind of 10, but he's.
But is it another risky signing given his injury record? Are these the kind of players we need to steer clear of, the ones with really bad injury records? Or do you think he's worth picking up, like he's worth taking on?
Well, he would massively improve our options at 10, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
It's he is a good player, no matter what, how you look at it. He is a good player. Injuries and just wrong place, wrong time have kept him out of the Wales team a bit. And I know you're a bigger fan of Sam Davis than me, but he is, several cuts above Sam Davis.
I like Sam Davis. He got a lot of stick from Dragon supporters. I think he was what we needed at the time. I'm a big fan of it. And he is going well in the Pro D2. I know you might say, well, so in the Pro D2, but it's a competitive league. He looks a completely different player out there, doesn't it? But it does help having a strong pack in front of your mind, doesn't it? When you've got a strong pack in front of you, as a fly half, you're given a free ride, a bit more, freedom. And he never really had that. He was never behind a strong pack at the Dragon, Sam Davis. So there is that element.
No, he's got a bit more of an armchair ride, doesn't he? But, I think Patch would be a good signing. But like you say, what do you want to come here? I know we've been in conversation with him. Where is he in? Is he at the Blues? No, he's not the Blues.
He's at the Highlanders.
Highlanders, yeah. I'm not sure I'd want to leave New Zealand to live in Newport, but
you wouldn't have to live in Newport. You'd probably move back to Cardiff, I'm guessing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm making the assumption.
Yeah, but I know they have been trying with Rhys Patchell, so like I said, watch this space. I'll tell you a funny story I got told on Friday night by somebody at the Dragons. So we were in negotiations not long ago with Gareth Anscombe. He was all going very well, apparently. He was looking good. And then he turned around and said, no, I'm not going to join. He pulled out of the move. And he told them that he wanted to leave Welsh Rugby and go further afield. And then he signed for Gloucester.
Yes.
Which is just like 40 minutes away. So, true story that was.
It is further afield.
Yeah, but they thought he
Yeah.
meant sort of, playing in Super Rugby Japan, and then he said he turned around, he announced the move to Gloucester. So yeah, he
Sale.
could have been a dragon. He could have been a dragon. He's they did talk. They were the contract negotiations. But,
He'd have been a great player
if he was fit.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. There's so many players in Welsh rugby who are really talented but never fit, isn't there? And we need to stay away from those now, I think, as a club. We've given far too many chances to injured players, and we just need someone who's durable and robust to play week in, week out, don't we?
Tell you who I'd really like to sign, but he's super injury prone and he'll never come to us. Ellis Jenkins.
Oh, I know. Yeah. That'll be another good signing, wouldn't it?
Oh,
that's what I mean. That's sort of Ellis Jenkins, Shane Lewis Hughes. I would take a Cardiff back rower. I really would. Thomas Young would be brilliant. Can you imagine Thomas Young at the Dragons?
Yeah, he'd do a great job for us.
Yeah, they've got really good back rowers.
And Newport's nicer than Cardiff, as we know. So
Of course it is. Absolutely. Yeah. And they've got McCann's, they've got Le Pub and the Mavringer. So what more do you want, I guess?
Absolutely.
What more do you want? Yeah. That is it then. There's no more letters in the mailbox. And I think that's it for this week, Gav, unless there's anything else you'd like to talk about.
No, I think that's covered everything.
Yeah. So it's a shorter one than usual this week. We are hoping to get a guest on when we return. We are playing Benetton, so I'd like to try and get someone to talk about Benetton, to come on the pod and have a chat about them, what's made them so successful and their progression, really, because they are an interesting team, Benetton, now, aren't they? When you think about a few years ago, they were a bit of a laughing stock. They didn't win a game. And now all of a sudden, they're one of the best teams in the URC. They've invested heavily, and it's going to be a very difficult game for the Dragons, that one. So, I'll try and get in contact with one of the Italian podcasts, I think, and get someone on to have a chat about Wellington. But until then, that's it then. Until then, we shall speak again, and we'll be back with the Benetton preview. Gal, thank you as always for joining me. Until next time, take care. Ta-ra.
Thank you for listening to the Dragon's Lair podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to us, as it really helps spread the word. You can find us on all the usual social media channels or email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. And remember, whatever the question is, rugby is always the answer.
Sports Social Podcast Network.